Hi, my name is Abigail Johnston, and I am an 8th grade geometry student in Mr. Leek and Miss Brewer's 8th grade geometry classroom. I am doing my real world problem using Geometer Sketchpad. I've kind of already set it up here, but I can go back and kind of show you the process that I did. Due to the fact that I'm not as proficient with GSP, I kind of made my constructions and then measured them to make sure that I got them as close to possible as I could. So I got this line as close to 12 and this line as close to 28. So I'm gonna quick redo all of these. So I made it a rectangle, which is basically what my backyard looks like. So the problem that I'm doing is my dad wants to build a shed in the backyard. Our current yard is 28 feet by 12 feet. And of course in GSP it's in centimeters because it's easier to calculate. He wants the shed to be 12 feet long. How many feet wide will make it proportional? So he wants the shed to be approximately 10 feet long. So I'll put that there. We'll measure the length of that. So that's pretty close to 12 feet, but not quite. So let's get it a little closer. So that's about 12 feet. So we want this to be proportional. So the way that I would set up my, I don't want to set up a function. The way that I would set it up would be 28 equals 12 over 12 and x. So basically, in order to create this as a function, I would address it this way. So the way that we're taught to do this in Mr. Leek and Miss Brewer's class is to cross multiply and then divide. So we would have 12 times 12 equals 28x. But I want that all on one line. So now I can go to the calculate and do 12 times 12 gives us 144. And then I can calculate again and do 144 divided by 28. And that gives us 5.14. So that's about what we're going to want for the width of our shed. So in creating the width, I would go to about here. That's probably going to be short. Yep. Whoop. I need to go back and use my tool. So these I kind of all wanted in the one row. So that makes it a little more understandable. And these two go together and these two go together. So in order to get this one to change and be closer to 5.14, I need to move it. There we go, 5.13. That's close enough. Okay, so now I want to create a parallel line. Construct parallel line. And then I want to create a perpendicular line. So now I have my new shed space. And to make it a little easier to see, I'm going to change the color so that it's a little more manageable. Okay, I'm going to click every line segment and I'm going to measure the lengths of all those line segments. So I'm going to put that down here because it's easier to see. So we can see that this is the same as this, and this is the same as this. So we know we have a rectangle. My father needs to know what the perimeter of the shed is going to be so that he can buy the correct amount of wood to start constructing it. So in order to find the perimeter, I select on the inside box and I measure the perimeter. And the perimeter is 34.24. Another way of calculating this is I can go to the calculate toolbar and I can do 2 times parenthesis L plus 2 times parenthesis of W, which also gives me 34.24 centimeters, or feet in our case. So building off of what we learned in Mr. Leake and Miss Brewer's class, we also measured what the area was. So I'm going to measure the area even though that's information my father doesn't need to know. Well, I mean, I guess it would make sense for the boards that he needs to put down on the floor, but that's just a idea. So in our area, according to GSP, is 61.50 centimeters squared, or in our case, feet squared. This we can also calculate. So we're going to calculate this by length times width. And that also gives us 61.50 centimeters. So now all my dad needs to do is use the perimeter in an area to figure out how much plywood he needs to use for the creation of the shed in our backyard.